up the stimulus package. Republicans have proposed $1.8 trillion in new spending to stimulate people who have been hurt by the lockdown. Because again, when the government forces you not to do your business, well, then the government has taken something from you and they ought to compensate you. This is the Fifth Amendment, the takings clause. Even Democrats have been slamming Nancy Pelosi for her unwillingness to take any sort of deal. Andrew Yang, over the weekend, tweeted at her and he told Pelosi to take the deal or risk political fallout. He said, put politics aside. People are hurting. Former Obama administration official Dan Pfeiffer agreed, telling Pelosi to ignore potential risk and just ink the deal. Said Democrats should aggressively pursue a COVID relief deal with Trump. This is according to Emily Zanotti over at Daily Wire. He said it's the right thing to do, but the politics can also work in our favor. Even Representative Rokana, who's very far to the left, like a Bernie Sanders leftist, suggested that a stimulus package would be a good idea. Okay, so she was asked about this by Wolf Blitzer on CNN. How unused to criticism is Nancy Pelosi? When she is asked a simple question by Wolf Blitzer, she loses her damned mind. She starts to look like the bad guys at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where their faces melt off. I mean, she just lost it. She called him a Republican apologist. I mean, this was a crazy off-the-rails interview. And if she weren't a Democrat, everybody would be... This is the brilliant strategist we have all been told is the mistress of our imagination. Here was Nancy Pelosi melting down on Wolf Blitzer, of all people.
Excuse me for interrupting, Madam Speaker, but they really need the money right now. And even members of your own... I understand that, but even members of your own caucus... Even members of your own caucus, Madam Speaker, want to accept this deal, $1.8 trillion. So what do you say to Rokana?
What I say to you is, I don't know why you're always an apologist, and many of your colleagues apologists for the Republican position. Rokana, that's nice. That isn't what we're going to do.
Okay, Wolf Blitzer is an apologist for the Republicans? Really? Wolf Blitzer and CNN? These are their... You know how wildly leftist and in your bubble you have to believe that Wolf Blitzer is an apologist for the Republicans? It got worse, by the way. Nancy Pelosi just like if Trump had done this to any member of the media, it'd be, this is a threat to the free press. How dare anybody treat a member of our beloved journalistic establishment like this? This is just terrible.
The president only wants his name on a check to go out before Election Day and for the market to go up. Is that what this is all about? Not allow the president to take credit if there's a deal that will help millions of Americans right now?
He's not that important. But let me say this. With all due respect, and you know we've known each other a long time, you really don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that was a lot of due respect there. I felt the respect. Did you feel all the respect there? With all due respect, you're an ass. She's lost her mind. I mean, my goodness. It got worse, but this is 14 minutes long. It's 14 minutes of pure pain in the octagon. She got even more unhinged. Here she was.
Do you have any idea of how
that's precisely why, Madam
short they're concerned?
That's why it's so important right now. Yesterday, I spoke to Andrew Yang, who says the same thing. It's not everything you want, but there's a lot there.
Honest to God, you really, I can't get over it. I didn't come over here to have, so you're the apologist for the Obama, excuse me, God forbid.
Madam Speaker, I'm not an apologist. I'm asking you serious questions because so many people are in desperate need right now. Let me ask you this. Okay. When was the last time?
Let me respond to you.
Unbelievable. Okay, and then it concluded with her saying to Wolf Blitzer, I feed poor people. What, from your $20,000 Sub-Zero fridge with your $13 pints of custom-made gelato? Nancy? That's how you're feeding the poor? Here's Nancy Pelosi talking about, I feed the poor people. Let them eat cake. Literally, we're talking about how you're not feeding the poor people. That's literally the topic of conversation, is why won't you just sign a $1.8 trillion deal to give people money in the middle of the greatest lockdown in modern American history? And she's like, I feed poor people. I feed poor people nothing. Here is Nancy Pelosi concluding this brilliant interview with Wolf Blitzer. Remember, this is the most brilliant strategist of our time, we've been told.
No,
we
you
know
are.
them.
I'm just saying.
We represent them and we know them.
As we say.
We know them. We represent them.
Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, as they say.
It is nowhere near perfect.
Madam Speaker.
Always the case, but we're not even close to the good.
All right, let's see what happens, because every day is critically important. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for your sensitivity to our constituents' needs.
I am sensitive to them because I see them on the street begging for food, begging for money. Madam Speaker, thank you so much.
Have you fed them? We feed them. We feed them.
Well, no, you don't. I feed them. And here's a $13 pint of ice cream, you poor person. That's incredible stuff. How do you know somebody's been in the bubble too long? That's how you know somebody's been in the bubble too long. When Wolf Blitzer is owning you in an exchange, you've been in the bubble a little bit too long. Wild stuff. But that media bubble is extraordinary. That media bubble is incredible. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and share it with all of your friends.
1 minute to the gentlelady, freshman from Silt, Colorado, Ms. Boebert.
Well, I recognize the gentlelady from Colorado for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Womack, and thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today frustrated and dismayed because Congress continues to act as the Speaker's House rather than the people's House. Debate has been silenced, and bipartisan amendments have been rejected for political reasons. I myself submitted 80 amendments to this bill, and not a single one was made in order. This includes 3 amendments redirecting federal funds from bureaucrats to fight wildfires that are burning down the West. Forget voting on these common sense amendments. Democrats won't even allow debate on them. I also filed 3 amendments to reallocate resources to help combat drought in the West. All ignored, and all debate was refused. How about the amendments redirecting resources to improve veterans' mental health? Ignored. You know why the American people like Congress less than cockroaches, root canals, and Nickelback? Because of political garbage like this. Speaker Pelosi has silenced my constituents and the American people once again. And I yield back.
Gentlelady's time has expired. Gentleman from Arkansas, reserved.
The gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition.
Madam Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, you are not God. Your will does not bend the forests or shake the mountains. And let me assure you, your will does not bow the knee of millions of my countrymen who refuse to heed your callous command. To threaten arrest on others for their own personal medical decisions is nothing short of a medical apartheid, and I will not let it stand. For if I am to cowardly bend the knee here like those on the left wish, then what is to stop you all from taking your tyranny to the rest of this country that I love? How dare anyone in this institution attempt to dictate to the patriots of my staff how they may live their lives? For one to think that because they have the title honorable attached to their name means that they may dictate what others may say and think repulses me. What makes this nation special is that in this free land, the people are the royalty. So arrest us if you will, but I will not cower and I will not bend. Madam Speaker, you have come to take away our liberties. But Madam Speaker, in this country, you are outnumbered. With that, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Texas? For what purpose does the gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I hereby wish to remove my name as a co-sponsor of Bill H.R. 43.
The gentleman's request is accepted.
The gentleman's request is accepted. Okay. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Texas seek recognition?
There is a reason that Nancy Pelosi is the most disliked elected official in America. She always puts her own partisan politics over what's best for the American people. She's an authoritarian who has broken the people's house. She is a lame duck speaker, and everyone knows it. The reason why Nancy Pelosi is refusing to seat accomplished and well-respected hardworking Republicans like Jim Jordan and Jim Banks is because she doesn't want the American people to know the truth or learn the facts. She doesn't want a fair or bipartisan investigation. She wants a political one. It is a fact that in December of 2020, Nancy Pelosi was made aware of potential security threats to the Capitol, and she failed to act. It is a fact that the U.S. Capitol Police raised concerns, and rather than providing them with the support and resources they needed and they deserved, she prioritized her partisan political optics over their safety. The American people deserve to know the truth that Nancy Pelosi bears responsibility as Speaker of the House for the tragedy that occurred on January 6th. And it was only after Republicans started asking these important questions that she refused to seat them. House Republicans will continue to follow the truth and the facts and support our law enforcement officers to make sure this never happens again in the U.S. Capitol, the People's House. And I'm proud to turn it over to my colleague, very well-respected member, Jim Banks.
Go ahead. Thank you, Jen. There are Taliban fighters right now carrying American weapons. They're wearing American fatigues, the full kit of gear. How is that advancing America's national security interests?
Well, Peter, I think my colleague Jake Sullivan spoke to a version of this last week. But let me tell you, let me reiterate some of what he said. When the president made this decision to bring our men and women home from Afghanistan who were serving, he knew he made that decision not lightly. He made the decision with a clear assessment from his national security team about what the impacts could be. We have taken steps over the past few months to retrograde materials, to bring materials home, to make them not available to the Taliban. We have taken those steps from our military. But our choices at hand, the president's choices at hand, were either to equip the Afghan National Security Forces with the materials and the equipment and the weapons they needed to fight, or not. He made the decision to equip them with the weapons to fight, and we will continue to take steps to retrograde our materials and equipment.
But does the president have a sense that most of the criticism is not of leaving Afghanistan, it's the way that he has ordered it to happen by pulling the troops before getting these Americans who are now stranded? Does he have a sense of that?
First of all, I think it's irresponsible to say Americans are stranded. They are not. We are committed to bringing Americans who want to come home. We are in touch with them via phone, via text, via email, via any way that we can possibly reach Americans to get them home if they want to return home.
There are no Americans stranded is the White House's official position on what's happening in Afghanistan right now.
I'm just calling you out for saying that we are